In a quiet village resting between gentle, rolling green hills, lived an old grandfather named Raka. He was known by everyone, not because he was loud or important, but because he lived with a kind of calm wisdom that felt like the soul of the village itself. Raka had lived there all his life. He grew up running through muddy rice fields, climbing trees taller than the houses, swimming in the river during the summer heat, and watching fireflies glow during late evenings. As the years passed, he became a farmer, a husband, a father, and eventually, a widower. But no matter how much time took away from him, Raka stayed gentle, steady, and grateful. Every morning, long before the sun rose, he would wake up to the faint sound of roosters and the cool whisper of dawn wind. He tied the same faded scarf around his neck, picked up his old wooden stick, and stepped outside. The air was cold, fresh, and silent, his favorite time of day. He walked the narrow dirt trail toward the rice fields. His knees ached, and his back curved like an old bamboo branch, but his eyes remained bright. To Raka, the fields were more than land, they were memory. He had planted every corner with his own hands, season after season, year after year. They held the story of his youth, the sound of his wife's laughter, and the lessons his father once taught him. Sometimes, as he worked, he would pause and look at the sky. The wind would brush against his cheeks, and he would whisper softly, "Are you watching the sunrise with me today?" He knew his wife was gone, but in the quiet beauty of morning, he always felt she was near. The villagers admired him deeply. Children ran to greet him as he passed, offering to carry his tools or simply walking beside him. The adults came to him for advice: when to plant, when to harvest, when to rest, and when to trust the earth. Raka never lectured, he simply shared stories. Stories of storms he had survived, of years when the crops grew tall, and years when they didn't. To him, life was like the seasons, sometimes heavy, sometimes generous, always moving. In the evenings, when the sky turned orange and purple, Raka sat on the wooden porch of his old home. Children gathered around him, some sitting cross-legged on the floor, some leaning on his legs, others half asleep but refusing to leave. He told them tales of the village's past, the great floods, the wandering merchant, the tree that once split in two yet continued to grow. He spoke of love, loss, patience, and gratitude. The children loved his stories, but what they loved more was the feeling of peace that came from sitting with him. To them, Raka wasn't just an old man, he was living history. One late afternoon, Raka climbed a gentle hill overlooking the village, something he did only when he wanted to think deeply. He sat in the grass, placed his old straw hat beside him, and let the warm sunset light blanket his face.